Hi there, my name's Andy Young and I'm one of the automotive lecturers down at Unitec in Auckland, New Zealand, and welcome to my Andy Mechanic YouTube channel. Now, I'm going to be working today on a Yamaha Viking, another Viking actually, been doing lots of these recently, and this one belongs to the Ariwa Surf Club. And to be honest, it's had a pretty hard life, and I'm going to take you outside to show you the vehicle and what I've done so far. Basically, I'm doing a full brake overhaul and I'm doing a full service. Well, there's already videos on my channel showing you how to do a full brake overhaul, stripping down all the calipers, including the handbrake caliper, cleaning them all up, rebuilding them with new parts, installing new brake pads, putting them on the vehicle and bleeding it up. That's all done, so there's no need for me to do it all over again, not to camera at least. And of course there is a video on how to do an oil change on the Yamaha Viking, I think, pretty sure there is, yes there is, and other basic service requirements such as cleaning the air filter and that kind of stuff. So again, I don't need to do that to camera, so this is a bit more of a relaxed kind of video, really to show you, keep you up to date with the kind of things that I'm up to. And of course to cover the things that we're going to be doing, or I'll be doing, in the near future. So the videos that are going to be hitting the channel over the next few weeks, maybe in the next couple of months. And not all the videos, just some that are up and coming that I know about at the moment. First of all, I went to go and see my friend Brandon down at the Teng Tools Importers, ISL Industries, yesterday. And those guys were very helpful. And they gave me a new windy gun. Now I'm English, so we call this a windy gun. New Zealanders call it a rattle gun. There's lots of other names for it too. So I'm going to be putting this to the test over the next few videos to see how well it performs. So whether or not I can say to you, hey, this is really cool, you need to buy one, or maybe it's not so cool. We will find out over the next few jobs, and you'll see me using it in anger, and I'll be able to let you know what I think about it. But I'm pretty confident, looking at the specs, that it's going to perform really well, and without any doubt it's going to be a lot better than the one that I brought with me from England, which is extremely tired and done a lot of work. Also, Brandon asked me to check out their new catalogue. This is the spring catalogue of all the Teng Tools stuff. Really, really cool gear in there, and it constantly surprises me the range of stuff that they now produce. And he asked me, hey look, he says, Andy, what we'd like to see in the videos in the background is some of our really new modular shelving racks. So I said, Brandon, no problem, you throw them my way and I'll put them in the background and I'll stack them high with all sorts of crap that's around the garage. And he went, okay, no problem, take a look and see what you need. So I need to have a look through this and decide, have a measure up to the space I've got and decide which of these particular racks I'm going to go for and why. And then I'm going to send an email to Brandon, or maybe he's going to watch this video, who knows, and he'll get an idea of what I need and send it through. That's the plan, you know, it's all good. Right, so we'll head outside to the Viking and I'll run through and show you what I've done so far. And then I'm going to come inside and I'm going to, well, I've already removed all the calipers, popped all the pistons all the way out. So I need to strip all these down, clean them, refurbish them, get them ready for reinstallation, all the parts. I've just had a notification from Ian at Cycle Treads, the Yamaha dealer in Takapuna, that all the parts they ordered for this particular vehicle have now just arrived. So I'm going to grab those tomorrow and I can get all those parts installed, get the calipers put on, get the brakes bled up, do the service on the vehicle, and hopefully by the end of the week it'll be all finished and I can get it delivered back to the Ariwa Surf Club. So let's head outside now. I'll show you the vehicle, show you the state it's in. It was pretty bad. Somebody's obviously driven it in the sea at some time. This vehicle I serviced about a year ago when it was pretty new, and now it's gone downhill big time. Putting vehicles in the sea really affects the corrosion problems on the chassis, and you know, it's just, man, it looks terrible. In some of the places there's quite a lot of corrosion on the chassis. Not Yamaha's fault. It doesn't matter what vehicle you put. If you put it in the sea, that salt water, even if you wash it off afterwards, it's got inside the chassis rails, inside the tubing, and it's just going to attack that coating and start to eat away at the steel work. It's not good. Okay, let's head outside. Okay, so you can see behind me we've got the Rearwa Surf Club's Viking, and like I said earlier on, the work I've got to do is a full brake overhaul and a major service, and that service is going to include things like checking the drive belt, the CVT drive belt, and checking the valve clearances. Now, there aren't videos yet on doing the CVT drive belt, so I'll do one of those for you, and setting the valve clearances on a Yamaha Viking. So again, I'll do you a specific video on that particular workshop task rather than one video covering everything. I'll break it up and try and cover the areas that I've not yet covered. Yeah, okay, so let's have a wander around the vehicle and see what needs to be done. Okay, so just front left hand corner first of all. You know, compared to any of the other Vikings that I've worked on, there's instantly you see a surprising amount of corrosion starting to build up on the components, and that's because, you know, look at the front there, look. That was brand new a year ago. It's just got in absolutely everywhere, and it's really quite disappointing actually to see how bad it's got. And I'm actually tempted, if I can get permission to do it, to get some underbody sealant, some kind of shuts like I use on the four-wheel drives, and actually shuts this vehicle and try and seal up and slow down that corrosion, because this vehicle's got to last them another year yet. So I've already removed all the calipers. As you can see, all the brake flexi pipes are all clamped off with my patented method of using a mole grips and some sockets. So that's that corner done, and all the wheel bearings and stuff feel fine. I'm quite happy with that. At the rear end, is it as bad? No, it's not quite as corroded at the rear end, just a little few localized spots on the chassis. That bit down there, by the way, just in there, there we go, that's the frame number, so of course it's going to be a little bit rusty. But even things like the exhaust, you know, they've really started to take a toll. Somebody has been around with some paint. These should be silver, and there's black. There's basically just a black paint where they're trying to attempted to cut down on the rust side of things. But you know, there is still a bit of rust on the rear. So yeah, no, inside here, look. This is the cover for the CVT drive. Now on a previous Viking video, I had to replace that cover, and that was done to camera, so I did that with the engine out. This time round, when I inspect that drive belt for wear, I've got to remove that cover in situ, you know, with the engine actually still in the vehicle. And looking around, it's going to be a really tight job getting to all those bolts to get it undone and removed, so I can take the measurements. I'm also going to be doing final drive oil change, front diff oil change. And again, I'll do separate videos for that too. On this side, you can see quite clearly good access to the oil filter. And again, I fitted the new oil filter to that engine while it was out. But on this side here, the actual handbrake mechanism, which is this inboard caliper here that operates on the rear prop shaft, just down there, look, coming out the back of the engine, that is actually, if I can get quite far in, can you see the corrosion on those brake pads? I reckon the sliders have seized up as well, because that handbrake is essentially inoperative. It doesn't seem to do very much at all. Okay, so coming further out on this side, yeah, still a bit of corrosion around. It's not great, lots of sand. I'll get Ben to give it a wash off later on. Yeah, and then down to the front, last bit for the inspection side at least. Again, you know, I'm really tempted to, because there's no grease nipples on these anymore, to actually pull these bolts out one by one and grease everything up, just to try and cut down on that seawater getting in to the pivot points. It's going to be a lot of work, but what do? You know, it's a service and it needs to be done, and if we don't, it's only going to demise even quicker. Okay, so yeah, front diff. So the front differential unit here, look, that's going to get an oil change as well. And you can see quite clearly this black paint that somebody's been spraying around the place. That should be a silver casting. and it's all sort of blacked out for some reason, don't know why. Again, you can see all the rust, look, just eating away at the machine. And if that's left in a year's time, that's going to be in a really bad state. You know, it's got right down the little chassis tubes, look at that. Man, it's just a matter of time before this whole thing disappears. Yeah, not good. Not good at all for not a particularly old vehicle. Yeah. Okay, so what else have we got to do? Well, other problems that we've got is some pretty severely corroded seatbelt units, and these inertia reels down here have been affected by the salt water as well, and they're not working very well. Now in New Zealand it's illegal for me to take those apart and to try and fix them, and essentially they're a sealed unit anyway. So I'm going to be changing these seatbelts from inertia reels, keeping still a 3-point harness, but going for the old school style that doesn't have the inertia reel, and hopefully they'll withstand the salty air a lot better. So I've got all three seatbelts need to be replaced. See them all there, look. And a final job is they want this radio moving from this down here position, down by the floor pan, and mounting up here in the roof. So I'm going to have to make some kind of bracket to hold that up there. I'm hoping that the wiring side of it is going to be long enough to reach, because there's going to be an antenna aerial in there, and that's going to be some special wire to extend that antenna cable if need be, and then it might require the radio to be re-SWA'd, SWI'd in, which I don't really have the equipment for that. That's a specialist job. Okay, let's head back into the workshop. Okay, so you can see I'm going to be a busy chap over the next few days. Today is Tuesday. I want that vehicle back on the trailer and rolling back to the customer by Sunday night. Is it going to happen? Probably not. More likely on Monday afternoon, but we'll see how things pan out. So yes, I'm going to crack on with the calipers. No, it's not going to go to camera. I'm going to crack on with the service on the engine tomorrow and put the calipers back on and bleed them up. That won't be to camera. What will be to camera as separate videos will be an inspection on the CVT drive belt, changing the oil on the front diff and on the rear final drive, and we'll do a video on setting the valve clearances on that particular engine, one that I haven't done yet. So what am I going to do in the rest of this video, other than tell you what's coming up? Oh, there's other stuff coming up. Charlotte, my eldest daughter, hi Charlie, has decided eventually to learn how to drive. Now, she could have done this about 3 years ago, but it's a lot easier for Dad and Mum to be trekking her around all over the place and paying for the fuel and paying for the rego and the warranty fitness and the running costs of the car. But now she's finally realised that her independence might actually have more value than the cost of keeping a car on the road. And do you remember that little black RAV4 that had an engine fault? Well, it's still got the engine fault. I believe it's got a chipped valve, and it needs a hose and a new set of rings, because it burns a bit of oil too, and probably a new set of valve stem oil seals, that kind of thing, just to freshen it up. And she wants the RAV4, so I'm going to have to pull that head off. Well, in fact, I think I'm going to pull the whole engine out, to be honest. Pull the engine out, take the head off, and hone it all out, chuck some new rings in it, and new head gasket, build it all back up, do the timing, put the whole thing back in the vehicle. And fingers crossed, assuming Andy knows what he's doing, that vehicle should be good for a few years yet. Everything else about it is in really good condition. It's just really annoying that it's knocked a valve out and it's just not running on one of the cylinders, and it's not spark. But again, there'll be videos covering all the diagnostics and videos pulling the engine out, stripping it all down, doing the inspections, and then doing the rebuilds. And all that will be accompanied by the manufacturer's specs, extracts from the workshop manual, which I have now already got. So that's one thing less that I have to do. So what am I going to need for this racking system, being the last part of this video? Well, these racks, and I'll scan this and I'll put a few bits and pieces on the video, because storage in a workshop is paramount, you know. And you might have seen some of my early videos. I had a massive workshop out at Puhoi, and it was brilliant, and we could afford to be a little bit messy and leave stuff lying around, and there was still plenty of space to work. This is just a double garage. Sure, we've got two double garages, and one of them is full of all the toys. And we've also got a carport, so I can put things like Vikings and things under the carport and not have to bring them into the workshop whenever, whenever I'm working on them, depending on the weather, obviously. But we're in a smaller environment working. It's a much smaller workshop, and storage is critical. You need to be really compact. When you've got a lot of gear like me, you need to have a place for everything and everything in its place. Benjamin Young. So Brandon's asked me to sort out this racking, so I'll have a quick measure up and see what I need. So let's have a look at the manual and see what dimensions of racking is available. See what I've got along this wall. This wall to my left by the window here, I intend to take off the shelving there and run racking along the length of that wall. But with it being a small workshop, I've also found that having some stuff on trolleys, on wheels, I can move it around really easily. I can shuffle my gear around to maximize the space in a certain area of the workshop, depending on what I'm working on. So I'm going to try to integrate that into the final layout. So let's have a look in the book and see what we've got. Okay, so we've got a standard rack. That's this one here, and that comes in two widths. We can get a 700mm wide or a 1339mm wide. Okay, now they're all, by the looks of it, they're all 2 meters high, which is pretty cool. And we can get also the standard rack. We can get an option with these drawers. Now I'd like to put those drawers not at the bottom, because that's a bit awkward to get to. I'd rather put them a bit further up. And I think, given the fact, well, I don't have any corners, so I don't need a corner module. I've got 3,300mm of wall space that I can, if I need to, put these racks in. So I think rather than go for the narrow ones, I think we should go for the wider ones. So 1, 2. Okay, so we'll go for one with the drawers and one without, just first of all. Let's see if that's going to work. So we'll just divide that off like that. And let's put the drawers one here, so we'll put the drawers in that area there. And that's, what was it, 1339. Okay, 1339, 1339. So that's 2.6, nearly 2.7. That only leaves us 600mm. Okay. Damn, I was hoping to use one of these. And that's the same width as the wide ones. I really would like some drawers. Okay, so why don't we go for the narrow ones? So we'll kill that off. Now the narrow ones are 700mm a piece, so 700, that's 14. That leaves us 1.9. And I really want a long trolley, because trolleys are good. They're on wheels and I can move them around. So let's go for a trolley, 1339. So we'll put the trolley in this area here. We won't bother with that space there. Put the trolley here. Oh, can't spell. Trolley. And we'll go for the wide trolley, which is 1339. Okay, so that's going to be 142427. Well, we've still got a bit of room left. So why don't we go? We could go for one wide and one narrow racking system. That'd be cool. So let's change that to 1339. Then we get the wider drawers, so there's more drawer space. Okay, so that's going to give us 2.680. 26 pens crap. 2680 for that and that, plus 700. Okay, what's that going to give us? Say 27, add 700 is 34. Minus the 20, so 3380. So 8 centimeters longer than what I've got, but I measured it pretty roughly. I could afford to put another 8 centimeters in the end. So let's go, yes, let's do one wide. So we'll do one of these. So we'll do 1 times that at 1339, the wide one with the drawers. We're going to go for a narrow one of those at 700 millimeters. And then we'll go for a trolley at 1339. And that's pretty cool because that's going to allow me to move the trolley out of the way and still be able to, and then that way the racking's not going to get in the way of bringing vehicles into the garage. I can just bring them in the garage through the entrance and slew them slightly round to the right, and that's going to clear that other rack. And the other benefit of having these in front of the window is for filming purposes, for me at least, I can cut down on some of the natural light, which really upsets the camera, so that's pretty cool too. Okay, well there you go, Brandon. We need one of, that's the normal one, isn't it? So we need one of them. RSK0700. We need one of the wide one with the drawers, RSK1350A, and we need a wide trolley, sorry, a long trolley, which is TR for trolley, I suppose, 135. Cool. Obviously I'll quote the article numbers in my email. Excellent. Right. Okay, well it really is as simple as that. Grab yourself a tape measure, work out what space you've got in the workshops, but take into consideration, really important, the vehicle, the kind of vehicles that are coming into your workshops, and if that racking is going to impede on you know, on vehicle flow, if it's going to make your entrance too narrow, that kind of thing. And having a trolley, it's dual purpose. So what I can do on that trolley is I could keep maybe the top clear and I can use that as tools, you know, put tools on there, or if I'm working on a vehicle and taking lots of components off, say I'm working on an engine, I can take all the air ducting off, put it all on the trolley, and then once it's full, move it back out of the way. So maybe I'll be using that when I come to do that RAV4, because there's going to be a lot of stuff coming off that car to get the engine out. Okay, well, you know, hope you found it helpful. If you're in New Zealand, why not drop onto the ISL Industries website. All the details are at the end of this video. You'll find their phone number for Brandon, and you'll find their website address as well. And they do a whole lot more stuff than just Tang tools. So there you go. I'll scan that, and I'll put some of that, in fact I've written all over it now, so you're going to see my writing on the scans, but I'll stick that on this video for you so you can actually see all the information about that racking system. And who knows, it might be beneficial to you. One of the worst things you can do is buy really cheap racking. You load it up and it starts to fold up and bend and buckle under the weight. That's no kind of kit for a decent garage. You know, spend a little money and then that racking will last you a lifetime. Okay, well, I'm going to crack on and get these calipers stripped and rebuilt. This is going to be, you know, classed, I suppose, as just an update on Andy Mechanic's workshop, really, because we've not done any actual fixing in this video. I've just told you about what I'm doing now and what I'm going to be doing. So there you go, an update. Okay, cheers, over and out.